Hi everyone, and welcome to the What the Fuck Show. With me as always, my co-host and partner is Will.
Hello, hello.
And our guest so far this week, the lovely Kitty.
Hey.
Jenny Morgan. Hi Jenny.
Good evening.
And Purple Rhymes with Orange. Hi Perps.
Hello.
I haven't seen you in forever, Perp. Like, God.
Such a small community.
Nobody's seen him in forever.
So yeah, this week we're talking about dystopian or utopian possible futures, either for us or ones that we've seen in science fiction, because Will and I love sci-fi and science. So we thought this would be an interesting topic to go with for this week. So I'm gonna let Will start because he's even a bigger sci-fi buff than me.
So I don't want to get into it too deep, but one of my favorite shows, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, they kind of they explored utopian and dystopian society, and they kind of showed, in Star Trek, it's all based around the world ending as we know it, and people having to come together because they have no other choice. Regardless of technology, regardless of anything, they had to come together because their numbers were low. So, my first question to everybody is, what would it take for society to actually come together, short of alien intervention?
Nuclear holocaust, I think. I honestly think at this point it would take knocking everything's dick back into the dust, so to speak. We would have to nuke ourselves to oblivion.
There's a movie with Gregory Peck. It's called On the Beach. And it's kind of about that. I actually quote it all the time. It's one of my favorite movies. The nukes go off, and the only safe place on the world is Australia.
Yeah,
and
that's
so they're going. Well, basically,
safest relative in that.
Yeah, safest relative.
So in this movie, they're in. Gregory Peck is a submarine captain, and they're going around picking up survivors. And there's this one scene where they go into the to San Francisco. And they put their periscope up, and San Francisco is just a nuclear wasteland. And this guy is like, no, I don't care. I don't care. My family's there. He's like, let me off the ship. And they're like, no, if we let you off, you can't come back. And he's like, no, just let me off. This person would rather die in radiation with his family than live in peace on the ship.
I mean, that's his choice to make. I'm for, if you want to fucking end your life and throw it away, do you?
But not for very long, obviously, if you're gonna throw your life away.
And I don't want to give the movie away, but
I mean, there's the element though. If it's already a wasteland, his family's already dead. What's the point?
What's the title again?
On the Beach.
On the Beach.
Wasn't that a Carry On movie on the beaches?
Hold on, let me look it up real quick, because it's great.
Yeah, what they didn't show us that when they landed in Australia, they were attacked by a bunch of cassowaries and driven off.
beaten up by emus, cassowaries, and kangaroos.
After World War III, Australia is the only current remaining place that a haven for mankind. However, wind currents carry lingering radiation, all but condemn those on the continent. So basically, the entire movie is Gregory Peck on a submarine, picking up survivors, taking them to Australia, knowing that eventually the cloud's gonna come there. Yeah. That's why I made a patch that says, "We're still here, brother." Because
only for a few years.
Yeah, but that's what they kept on telling themselves, like, "Oh, we're still here, brother."
Doug suggested you could unite the world by putting a price on Trump's head. And I think that could actually work, because I think most of the Trump supporters would turn around and sell him out.
True.
No, I think it's gone full-blown cult town at this point.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a cult.
I don't think they'd sell him out. He's dear leader. We're Kim Jong-il territory.
No, for real.
They made a fucking golden idol of him. How much further can you go?
Pretty much.
They had their last chance to inaugurate him today, so...
So how many yahoos?
There'll be another one. Don't worry. They've got plenty of chances.
Speaking of dystopian, how many yahoos showed up and got arrested expecting Trump to be inaugurated today? Does anyone know?
No.
I haven't heard anything.
No, I haven't seen any news today.
I honestly try to stay away from a lot of the Trump stuff because it's bad for my blood pressure.
Why did they pick today, though? I mean, what was significant about today?
Well,
Um,
this was the day that originally the president was inaugurated up through Lincoln.
Ah.
And then
Grant.
during the Civil War, they changed the
Grant.
date.
Grant.
Oh, so they're cherry picking
Oh,
history.
was it Grant? Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So they're
Yeah,
cherry
well,
pick.
that's why they were saying that Trump would be inaugurated as the 19th president.
Oh, and all the other presidents were invalid because they weren't inaugurated on the correct day.
No, they were invalid because the U.S. stopped being a country and became a corporation that was owned by the City of London.
It's fucking weird.
I'm
If that was-
serious. This is what the conspirators were pushing.
That's not even funny because if that was true, I'd have a way funnier accent.
Imagine the dystopian world, though, you'd have if they were right. Trump gets re-inaugurated and all that hate-filled mongering keeps going, and
Oh no, they wrote songs about that. If that really happened, I'd put on a pointy hat and grab my squirrel gun.
Yeah, and well,
Look
Funny horse.
at the dystopian. Look at the dystopian culture we live in right now, because Trump is still around.
Absolutely, absolutely.
but see, I think that illustrates the problem that I don't think the world could come together, because I think even in a nuclear war, rather than coming together, we're more likely just to break down into that tribalism.
So we're back to The Walking Dead.
well,
So we're
do we break down into tribalism? I mean, we're pretty tribalistic now, even without a
I was just about to say we're already there now.
yeah.
You-
I
you would
mean,
have- you'd have
country
to have new
attitudes are almost
tribes would form.
tribalistic.
What's that, Jenny?
New tribes would form. Each location is going to have its needs, and they'll develop tribes based on that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh.
we have tribalism in everything at the moment, because I mean you've
Yeah.
got tribalism in political followings, you've got tribalism in states and countries, and
For the answer dog in the chat, I have one right here.
you even got tribalism in religion. I mean that's one
Yeah,
of the biggest ones.
If people get the idea that there's a shortage of any resource, they're going to immediately make our group and the outsiders.
Okay, you brought up a good point. So Nestle stole Southern California's water, and we kind of did come together and kick them out of our state, but then they just went somewhere else and stole someone else's water.
Yep, they're doing it in Michigan now.
Exactly. You know, we told them like unequivocally get out of here because they're the reason Southern California had a drought.
Yeah, so they started a bottling plant that could just suck the water out of Lake Michigan.
See, we're back to dystopian. It shocks me how we allow corporations to destroy our environment to sell cheap products back to us. Like, I'm cool on a Hot Pocket if it's going to completely cut out my water source.
Well, and as Kitty had brought up, as Bee Stream was running down there, the state of Nevada is trying to pass a thing that basically corporations would be allowed to set up and become their own independent counties within the state, that the corporations would be the government for the area.
What? Where's this?
Nevada.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you know
So
what's funny?
basically, the corporate towns, to be fair, there is something similar to that, or at least there was here in Orlando, Florida. When Disney came in and bought up the land in the area, they actually got special permission to build, essentially, Epcot was going to be the city of tomorrow. But then that kind of ended up failing, so they tried again, and they ended up building Celebration, which is literally Disney City. It was run by the corporation. They had a school, a hospital,
Yeah.
everything that was owned by
I have
Disney.
I have some friends that live there.
But it eventually got sold off, and I don't think Disney actually owns it anymore. But it is still, like, even the power poles in the area are in fucking Mickey shape. And it's one of the most expensive places in the area to live. So it's not completely unprecedented. And I know in the US we used to have corporate towns where you got paid in like chits that were only good for the corporate stores. So essentially you could never leave because you never actually had any real money that you could spend anywhere else. The corporation owned you essentially because they
Yeah.
paid you in paper that was worthless outside of the shops they stocked. So they basically got your labor for free because all of the money stayed in their hands, and they gave you worthless pieces of paper to trade
Yep.
for goods that they paid pennies on the dollar for.
That happened a lot in mining towns along the Iron Range, and basically it was the sharecropper system.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what we have going today, except they're called students with student loans. They spend
You're not wrong.
their entire life paying off their student loan.
Yeah.
How's it
Hi,
going,
Jeff. Hi,
party
Jen.
people?
Hello.
Hey, Jen.
Who came in?
Genesis.
Oh,
So Jen,
I-
in Jen's little corner, you are so much faster than I am
Okay.
because I was looking for Jen.
I've got a
we
bigger
have
screen than you
tic-tac-toe
do,
here.
so
We've got
everything's
3
across
gens
the
up
bottom. I
center.
can see it really easy.
We've got 3 gens up the center, so tic-tac-toe is 1.
Purple one.
Yeah, who got bingo?
Damn.
Purple.
And I was hoping that I would win. Like, I'm all decked out in Harley Quinn and the Joker,
Yeah,
and I
you
even
are
did,
awesome.
black and red makeup. Like, I wanted
So
to
on
win.
point.
I almost bought blue hair dye today.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
Oh, no, I didn't do it.
You should go full Marge Simpson. You should do
I
it.
was so close to talked into it.
Oh.
Do it. Hair dye is impermanent. Honestly,
Yep.
you can always change it back if you don't like it. Cutting your hair is more complicated because, it takes longer to grow
Time to
back.
grow
But
back.
coloring your hair, you can recolor it whenever you want. I say you only live once. Take the chance. Dye your hair. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Don't
You should do
dye
it.
too often though, because dyeing your hair a lot will damage it. So
But if you do it every now and again, it's fine.
yeah, it's fine.
Or, like with me, I bleached my hair. But the reason why my hair is still shiny and healthy is because once I bleach it to get it to this color, I don't bleach it again. I only bleach my hair once or at most twice to get it to this color. And then when it gets kind of brassy, I just use a toning shampoo and conditioner to keep it this like whitish blonde. But then when I go to re-bleach it, I only bleach the new growth and don't actually touch what I've already bleached. And so my hair is nice and healthy because it's not overly processed.
Yeah, see, my hair is really very, very fine, and I would just be too afraid that if I do that too much, it's going to just destroy it.
Yeah, mine too. You see these? That's all I got left.
Bleach
These
the
right here.
eyebrows.
Yo,
kidding
you
me?
you guys might not believe this, but I used to have a stark white mohawk
Awesome.
with these
No, I don't
eyebrows,
believe that.
too. Yeah, but
Now,
Look badass.
then I dyed
on
it
you.
purple. Then I dyed it purple. So like I could never get it like unblue-ish. So I ruined
I
it.
had purple and white hair at one point. I actually had purple hair and stark white bangs, so I was going for
Oh,
like
that would've been
a
awesome.
rogue Psylocke like combination hybrid hair.
That was
So
your
I had
dystopian
rogue
look, was
bangs
it?
but Psylocke purple hair.
I dyed my hair blonde, but it was too Dennis Rodman
Oh,
for
Kitty,
me.
that's another thing we got in common. See, I had hair once too.
Yeah, me too. There was a 19 in front of the year.
As
That's
far
how
as
long ago.
eyebrows,
You can
like
always
I
tell
have to
them.
put stuff
Yeah,
on my
exactly.
eyebrows for them to be visible.
There's
Like
still hope.
the hair.
You can always color your pubes.
Oh, see, I just shaved mine off because why bother? But no, like my eyebrows are very, very fair and like sparse, so like I have to actually put stuff on them so that they show up on camera.
Oh wow.
Well, because I actually have blonde hair, it's just
Oh.
it's darker blonde on my head, but like while the carpets, so to speak, match the drapes insofar as they're blonde, they're not quite this blonde.
So in a utopian society, would you be free to be whoever you want? And do you feel like that now?
I feel like that's very dangerous because what if someone wants to be a serial killer? So not everyone.
Okay,
Maybe.
but to play devil's advocate, a serial killer, they in today's society, without the utopian society, they still exist. So
Yeah.
if it's kind of it's one of those things. Like in Spain, when they legalized all drugs, crime went down.
Yep.
I think it'd be a
Well-
case of you could be anything you wanted as long as you weren't hurting other people.
Right.
Yeah, I would think that any society is going to have limits on stuff like that.
Because I feel that you should be able to do whatever you want to yourself. But
I mean, a
a
good example of a quasi-utopian society would be Star Trek. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call Star Trek utopian because Star Trek has all its own major issues and weird-ass rules and shit like that. But it is closer. There's no money. It's a post-scarcity society where everybody there's no reason for anybody to be living in a gutter somewhere or anything like that. I mean, everybody has a role in society.
Star Trek's an authoritarian dictatorship.
Sorry?
No, they are. Jenny, please repeat what you said.
Yeah,
Sorry.
please repeat what you said,
It was
'cause
words of wisdom.
Star Trek is it's an imperialist, authoritarian dictatorship.
Yeah, and in the original series, they called it the Confederation of Planets. So it was a confederate of they changed it, but actually in Deep Space Nine there's a two-parter that deals with that. I can't remember the name now, but basically in the Star Trek society that we consider now, there was a point where they put all the sick and what they considered undesirable people in certain cities. So they would house them in certain cities, and in Deep Space Nine they kind of dealt with that issue. Like, in order to get to a utopian society, you'd have to get rid of all the undesirables.
Yeah, you say that. That is something that the government in Western Australia basically did. Well, it used the thing of state housing, where the state government put up houses and then put people in them so that they weren't living on streets. But what they did was they created ghettos in doing that. And I think Jeff would know a similar thing from tenement buildings in the UK, where you grab all the people together who are either on welfare and have other problems, and put them all in one spot, and then you don't look after them anymore. And it creates this ghetto type environment.
Projects.
Yeah, we still have them here.
It's like like Jen said, the big tenements we've had, and obviously the tower blocks that were constructed in the 60s.
Yeah, and none of these things were usually constructed very safely because they actually didn't give a shit about these people.
The big idea around the construction of tower blocks was that it was going to save on space and so on. And it even found that it even didn't achieve that goal.
So is that like Grenfell Tower? Is that what happened when that burnt down?
Yeah.
Was it because
that was one of those?
Grenfell's a good example of that. Yeah.
So was it because of just poor upkeep, or is it because it was a ghetto, considered the ghetto?
I mean, it was something. It was a building that was not looked after. I mean, it was a known fire hazard. And then of course the I mean, if sorry, I just got a quick cough. And then a few years before, of course, it was quite notorious that the then mayor of London, did cut a lot of the fire service in London.
Would that be Boris? Would that be Boris Johnson?
Yeah, I was going to say you might have heard of him. His name is Boris Johnson.
I'm cheating because I already know all these answers, especially about Grenfell. It's sad that we still do that to this very day to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the towers go, and even in some of the state housing that was here, because some of these people couldn't afford, ended up not being able to afford things like electricity or gas. I've been inside state housing houses where the floors have been burnt out of them because they were lighting campfires in the middle of the house to stay fucking warm. So I can't imagine how bad that would have been in the UK, where it gets a lot fucking colder in winter, and you've got people trying to keep warm who don't have any resources, no help, and okay, we're gonna have to light a campfire in this middle of this tower. It isn't any wonder you end up with tragedies like this occurring when, as a society, we tend not to care.
Well, it's not that we don't care; it's we other people, and then we put them in a category and we shove them off somewhere where we can't see them. and and we put them somewhere we can hear what's happening to them, and so it's easy to let those people just wither away and disappear.
In Milwaukee, the local government and the feds came up with a housing program for the elderly.
Yeah.
And they built these 3 towers in Milwaukee, spaced out, distant, by miles and miles. So they didn't create a ghetto sort of situation. They were like 20 stories tall, and each floor had, I don't know, 10, 15 units per. And they're circular and all the modern stuff. It was quite an achievement. Everybody thought it was going to be very cool. My grandma moved in. After she had been there a number of years, somebody sued the city and the federal government for discrimination because they would only let elderly people in there, and that they should let any disabled people in there. Well, they won in the lawsuit. And so now the place was opened up to the other disabled, which included people of mental illness, of drug abuse history, and other chemical abuse history, abusers, domestic abusers and stuff like that, because it was considered a disability. And boy, all the old people they got beat to hell and robbed and in their own building, it was pretty tragic.
What a freaky world.
It was pretty sad.
So do you think it's against human nature to live in peace? And I know we had this conversation earlier on B Stream, but do you think it's against human nature for human beings to live in peace with each other? Or is it inherent in us to just beat the hell out of each other and be jealous of each other?
I think for some it's impossible. I don't think for the majority.
Some people have an attitude which is more about self-interest. I think we all contain an awful lot of self-interest. I mean, there is a tendency against altruism amongst human beings. It seems to be part of our survival traits and something we've evolved with. And altruism is something we've had to learn and to overcome. Which is kind of weird because there are some apes that naturally are altruistic. So why we aren't just blows my mind.
I mean, we are capable. We are capable of great altruism as well.
We are. I agree.
This is one of those. I mean, we're a weird fucking species. We really are.
Altruism.
That we are. We are capable of destroying each other. Yet we are very capable of, helping people we don't even know without a thought.
Yeah.
As well.
But do you think it's taught?
Altruism was a stated, desired behavior, and back in the hippie days, it's something that everybody strove after to become. And as time went on, and we started to enter the selfish 70s, that was put down, and suddenly, if you were altruistic, you were a fool. And you're an undesirable and childish and all these negative things because you're altruistic. And now we have today.
So do you think it's taught? Do you think people they don't do it because other people are doing it?
I think for a lot of people being altruistic depends on whether or not they think there's abundant resources. If they think there's a scarcity in anything, people can't do it.
I think for some people it is an innate behavior, and it will always be there. I think for other people it can be learned or it can be chosen to become. And then for some people it's just a fool's paradise.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I was raised around people that always did charity, and I ended up doing the same thing, but I don't say it because of my religion. I just say I do this because I was raised around people that were good people. I don't say it's because of their religion or anything. So, but I use their example is what I'm trying to say. And I learned it from the people before me because they helped people no matter what, So is it something that we could teach each other? Because I'm stubborn like a government mule, but I try to help people out.
Well, the kind of thing that you teach from like infancy. It's not. I mean, you can teach a person the concept, when they're a teenager or a young adult.
I know the reference.
What altruism is, and maybe
Funny.
they'll go, "Oh, that sounds good. I think I'll try to live that way."
I agree
But
with Randy.
It's really altruistic. It's something that comes from within. It's just there.
So, to go off what Randy said, if we gave people incentive, do you think they'd be more altruistic?
Then it's not altruism.
Well, that if altruism's only altruism if you're not out to get something out of it.
Okay,
So-
okay, take that out of the equation. If we said, hey, when you see someone on the side of the road, we'll give you a tax break if you help them out.
Well, isn't that basically what religion has always tried to do, promising you great rewards in the afterlife if you're good, and promising you torture if you're bad?
Which is why religion isn't altruistic.
Yeah, the whole carrot and
I
stick
know, they're
approach.
not.
Yeah, it's a carrot and stick thing with the religion. There's nothing altruistic about it. There are people within, say, Christianity who are themselves altruistic, definitely. But religion
that's
itself
what they've
isn't.
used. That's what they've used for thousands of years to try and underpin a society. And as we can see, it's never really worked all that well.
No, because people resent getting beaten by a stick.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the Babylon 5 question then. Can you legislate morality?
Apparently, they seem to give boys the carrot.
Can you legislate morality? I think you can teach morality.
Far beyond Babylon 5. That's been a question for centuries.
You can certainly put rules in place that govern a society. Like you can have the rules to say, oh, murdering's not good, because you have some people who are not going to realize that it's not a good idea to go around and kill people. But I don't know that you can legislate morality. You can possibly legislate a better society, but is that really legislating morality? You can teach a better morality, though. If you start young enough, people, which is what religion tries to do, teach their morality through young people, so that through indoctrination. So I don't know if that's a good thing. If you're teaching your morality to children, aren't you indoctrinating?
Yes, and as someone who grew up in a place where most people were religious, it's more violent than places of LA that I've lived.
I have something to say about indoctrination. All indoctrination isn't a bad thing. I know what a conjunction is now, thanks to Schoolhouse Rock every Saturday morning.
What were you going to say?
And how a bill gets passed.
Oh, now I got that song stuck in my head. Thank you, Jenny. Go ahead, Genesis.
So from what I've seen, there are a few studies that suggest that a baseline level of morality is genetically passed down to children. One study is where they showed two sock puppets. One is very nice, the other is very mean. They ask the child which toy it would rather have. Well, they don't ask it, but they present both toys to him. And the child always goes for the good toy, quote unquote. So there is like a level of morality that we inherit. But at the same time, morality
is it inherited
largely...
or is it learned, though? Because we start learning our morality from a fairly young age through example. So if you get a kid that hasn't been brought up in that good environment, will they still look for the good one?
This was a study done on very young kids, but I don't know what their ages were exactly.
You still start learning pretty young, and if the kid's old enough to respond, they're old enough to have learnt. So
and there are certain people, like I have a cousin when I was younger. We all went hunting, and he flat out refused to touch the rifle and shoot a deer. And he's still to this day a complete pacifist.
Fair enough.
So
you can't teach stuff like that to people. You can't. Like, he was around a bunch of hillbillies and ex-Vietnam vets. No one judged him at all, but as a child, he made a choice.
Well, I think what is part of our nature, just because as infants we're helpless and we depend on other people, I think from that very early stage is the recognition that we have a better chance of surviving if we cooperate rather than if we're bad to each other.
Yeah, well, there's
Well, then
definitely
why-
seen in apes as well that
if it
that level of cooperation, where cooperation to get a job done is actually an innate, not an innate, but it's a learned trait for most apes. So,
But that is survival of the fittest, isn't it?
oh yeah,
Like, I'm going to make sure you have a coat too, so we all survive through the winter, so we can all go hunting.
if it takes
you know.
both of us to
Yeah.
open the door to get the food out, we will work together to get the food, and I'll make sure you get your share as well, because
Well,
that's
and it's the realization
what
that
orangutans do.
Yeah.
That,
but,
Bonobos.
so
Bonobos.
like
I don't know, yeah.
here's the thing. If I still think there is a part of our morality that is genetic, because there are some people who are genetically predisposed to so borderline personality disorders, specifically what used to be called psychopathy, and stuff like that, where people are predisposed to a level of like not caring about much.
Be careful labeling that BPD, because BPD isn't psychopathy.
Not
so.
borderline person. I didn't mean borderline personality disorder. I meant
Antisocial personality disorder.
antisocial personality disorder. Yeah. My bad. I'm a little high.
All right, it's all right.
Yeah, I've been hitting my weed pipe.
I fuck
here.
up my words even when I'm not high, so you know.
No,
Hey.
I just had a really long debate with my conservative grandma, so my brain's a little fried.
Yikes.
I don't
Yeah.
know all the terminology like that myself. I prefer to stay away from it. You just tell me, yep, you're nuts.
Yeah.
All right. He.
I don't necessarily disagree there, Jen. I do think there probably is a given that we know that genetic differences can cause people to be have psychopathy and things like that. It's quite probable that that there's a logical reason for thinking that evolution would have encouraged us to be genetically predisposed to cooperation. Because we can see it in our ape ancestors and things like that, and it kind of makes sense. And we know there's a lot of traits that are for a lot of other animals that are handed down, obviously genetically, because they don't have time to learn them. So it's conceivable that there is genetic form of they like to call it genetic memory, but I don't think that's a good term for it. But definitely there would seem to be a thing that, I mean, we know our brains respond to doing good for others in a positive light, so we actually get rewards within our brain because we did something that was conceivably good. So our physiology has predisposed us to try to do better, but we also are intelligent enough to completely fucking ignore that as well. So it's a side effect of it. As we gain more intelligence, you can ignore the feedback things that were within your own body, which is both a good and a bad thing. It gives you the ability to go and do things that might be absolutely dreadful if you had to, but you have to do them. For example, in a war situation where people do absolutely horrific things that you wouldn't even consider during peacetime, and because it's war and because you have to do it. Not that I'm a warmonger or anything like that.
But even with that, though, like in basic training, they break you down to follow orders. They break you down and build you up. So they are literally trying to essentially beat it out of you, with not necessarily beating, but they are trying to
it's a form of programming.
Force it out of you. Yeah,
So
thank you. Program it out of you.
There is definitely that. I mean, they know that from people who came back from Vietnam who were programmed to the point of being able to just kill somebody on direct order without even having to think about it. And you come back and you can't turn that off. It's really hard. Your brain has been fucked over, and they by the reprogramming.
It's super hard to turn it off.
Yes.
It took my.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it took my father intensive therapy almost up until the day he died. He was in therapy because of Vietnam, and the only reason he got it is because my mom got tired of him having crazy ass dreams and waking up screaming and running out of the room.
Well, this is this sort of problem with that because of the the way the way you are obviously in training broken down to be rebuilt up. You were then put into a war situation. It's what, and then this is what probably a lot of vets, when they actually come back and have to, find it very difficult to readjust to normal society, whatever, when they've come out. That is a thing. That, and of course that generally in a lot of countries they're not exactly taken care of as well. It's this is why you get that, because you've learned a new behavior, and then you've got to somehow just try and switch that off when you come back into quote unquote normal society.
My brother was the total Steve Urkel type. If anyone gets that reference, that's an old guy.
Steve, not Stefan.
Yep.
I'm Stefan. I'm Stefan because we look alike.
Okay.
So I'm Stefan. He's Steve.
All right, I can see that. You got that swagger.
That's got to be an American reference that I have no idea.
Like honestly, when I do this, I am my brother's twin. It's creepy. But anyways, he was a total Care Bear, total loving guy. He was in the Air Force for 20 years. He was on the ground in Iraq, and he is a quiet, heartless kind of human being now. He's one of those people who just sits in the corner. He interacts with his family. He's a good guy. He's an evangelical Christian, but he doesn't talk much anymore at all. And people in my family cannot stop talking, which is a shocker.
It is.
War shut him up.
Really? I never would have guessed that your family talks a lot. With how quiet you are.
Honestly, Will, what happened to you? Will, what happened to you, man? You're so quiet all the time.
I know. I am the quiet one. That's the sad thing.
And you don't smile enough either.
William, do you remember Urkel's car?
Oh, was it the little red? What kind of car was it?
That would have been a BMW Isetta, and I am one of the world's foremost experts on it.
Are you serious?
That's cool.
I wrote the book on them.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, a really quick side note before we get too far off. I met Jaleel White in person at a Johnny Rockets in Calabasas. He's an awesome guy. He's not Hollywood. He's awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Well,
there you go, Will, just dropping names again,
I got to meet David Yost and Jason David Frank, and one of them was a douche nozzle, and the other one was actually a really nice guy. I'll let you guess which one is which.
So, in a utopian society, would famous people exist? Would we need them? Or would it be like Star Trek, where they watch all the old movies?
Well, no, because you still have famous people in Star Trek. Because you've got the people like Zephyr Cochrane. You've got,
but they're famous because of their achievements, not just
yes, they're famous because of their achievements. But I mean, aren't actors and actresses are famous for their achievements? I mean, they're a weird set of achievements for us to honor, but they're still achievements.
You're always going to have famous entertainers.
I think you always will.
As long as there's a call for entertainment, and I think there always will be, I think you will have, your celebrities, so to speak.
And you'll have sports personalities too, because people are always going to want to watch people do things in sport. It's our it's our arena thing. The gladiators fighting the animals has become people chasing after a leather ball on the field. So
I'm still waiting for the fucking what was it, Starship Troopers, with that combination of gymnastics, parkour, and rugby that they had in that. I want to see that sport. I would watch that sport. I don't watch sports, but I'd watch that.
I like how they shower in those movies.
Starship Troopers were filmed 20 miles west of Casper, Wyoming.
Oh, awesome.
And now there's a society with, would you call
something or other canyon?
Will.
You know what the best thing about Starship Troopers was? Everybody fucking died. It was great.
What's that, Genesis? What's that?
Yeah,
Neil Patrick Harris didn't die.
Before I go off on Starship Troopers.
I'm losing my train of thought. Oh, fuck, I lost it.
I'm sorry.
Really quick, Starship Troopers was it was a utopian society, but they were dictators because everyone got drafted. So
I wouldn't call it utopian.
I
Well,
remember.
you know-
I remember.
they all looked rich.
Yeah, I
Not all
know,
of
and it
them,
was
just
still
the ones
post
you saw.
scarcity
Yeah,
because
Janice has found her dream. So
Okay, so just so I don't have to answer any more of these utopian questions, my utopia is far different from any other person's utopia. My utopia were all robots, and not human-looking robots, efficient robots. Robots that can take upon any number of forms for whatever purpose, fully sentient, fully hooked up to a web of consciousness, where all information can be easily gathered and transmitted. Communication would just be thinking, and the other person gets it, and then
So
them thinking back.
nanobot
to you.
Borg?
Sounds
Lex,
boring.
Lex,
yeah, you're
Lex- no,
basically the
Lex-
Borg.
No, Lex was like that because
Wait,
in the-
hold on. I have something for this. Keep going. I have something for
Just the
this.
sound
So-
of that makes my ass hurt.
So Showtime had a sci-fi show that was like it was Skinamax, you know. They showed boobs and butts. So, but it was a show called Lex, and it was
Lex
kind of
is
like
awesome.
that. Lex was
Flight of the
awesome.
Brennan G is actually a ringtone on my phone.
Oh,
I would
that's
play
awesome.
I would play it a little bit, but I don't like
Okay,
want to
let's not
have
get
the
done.
video taken down. When we're not streaming,
How
I'll
about
play
the
it.
boobs
Point to
and
bring
butts?
up, though.
Anyways,
Before you go further on, this is an important point. Which color?
Oh, go for the red.
Yeah, go for the red, Jen.
The red, okay.
Then again, I
Crimson.
mean, I'm decked out in red and black right now, so
That's fine.
I was going to say, I actually, you mentioned Starship Troopers. I actually watched that a couple of days ago for like the first time in like 10 years. But
So
um,
I own all of them and the animated movie.
Here's the thing.
I was
the issue.
gonna-
Oh, sorry.
I walked around in that canyon for a while. It's not that great. It's
What were you gonna
smaller
say?
than what it looks like on film.
What were you gonna say, Jeff? Still beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember, obviously, the film is obviously, you know, originally, obviously, it was a novel in the late 1950s, which, you know, it's been a long time since I've read that book. I mean, but so I'm not as completely up on it, but it's in that novel, you kind of think it is a slightly fascistic sort of society that they're
Exactly.
talking about. I mean, whereas the movie's more or less satire. I mean, the movie is almost a satire on the book.
Yeah,
And
the,
they're
But
the movie Starship Troopers had nothing to do with the novel.
Mm.
There was an animated series made called Roughnecks: The Starship Troopers Chronicles.
yes.
That was much more based on the novel than the movie was.
So that was on before G.I. Joe in the 80s.
Now,
I mean, it had elements of you know, like you said, that society had definitely elements of like what we would identify as a fascistic sort of society, but also like it had some ideals along the lines of, say, the ancient Roman Republic. I mean, the idea you could get citizenship and the vote or whatever if you served.
Exactly.
There was a privilege to becoming, which is somewhat similar to, if you think like the Roman Republic and then obviously the Empire. Although, you know, in that society there was should we say, it was only a privileged elite that actually got the right to vote on anything.
That's so true.
I was going to bring that up. That's why I was going to say, like, I don't see it as utopian because you didn't have the right to vote unless you were a citizen, and you weren't guaranteed citizenship by birthright. You had to earn it through essentially joining the military.
And trying to survive.
I mean, service
so-
guarantees citizenship.
Yep.
Like, that was their tagline.
Oh,
Service
and was it
guarantees
at least
citizenship.
50% of people who joined
You
the
wanted
military
a
snuffed
few
it?
that
so-
survived.
And that the mortality rate for going into the military was very high.
And one of the scariest movies scariest lines in the first movie was when they said, when the world ended and the veterans took over, being raised by a Vietnam veteran, I was like, you don't want that.
My father's a Vietnam veteran. I understand.
And I'm not downing the military or anything, but like
They come
my
back
dad,
damaged.
Yeah, no, for real. And my dad he was a engineer. He was an intelligent guy, but if you crossed him, he'd come after you with his motorcycle. Like he'd hit you with his car or something, like.
My dad could probably murder somebody in cold blood and not even bat an eyelash at it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Yo, can I do something?
What's
Yeah.
that?
It's gonna be cool.
Sure.
You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
Okay, that was
that
cool. Yeah, that was
Malekuthus
awesome.
of the Borg. Resistance is futile.
Oh, you gotta tell me.
Are the Borg.
You gotta tell
Lower
me. Hank.
your shields and surrender your ships to us.
Can I say
That's
for
great.
someone who's only just sort of like trying to discover Star Trek, that was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
it was very good.
I felt like I was on the bridge of the
Yeah.
Enterprise.
Like, honestly, because based on what Genesis was saying, like, it really does seem like nanotechnology, like nanobots and the Borg, like an amalgamation of that. Because if you want shape-shifting robots, you would have to have like nanobots or whatever that could then.
Okay, they're not shape shifting. Each one of them is purpose built.
Okay. Okay, so like
there's
a
all
like
different body types.
See, but
Okay.
I wanna use my
That would
body
be
until I
boring,
can't.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, I want to destroy my
With
body and
consciousness?
then download it. I
Yeah,
want
but
to
you'd be sentient, so you could just change your body type whenever you want.
no, I want to destroy this body. I want to like drink a bottle of Cuervo, fight the cops, and then
so like
then
surrogates,
really-
where like you're fucking jacked into a body, and if something happens to it, you don't care. It's just property damage.
I like being human, and I wouldn't mind being a robot. That's all I'm saying.
I want to be a vampire.
There you
You'd
go.
like to be
See?
like-
That's
you'd
one
like
way
to
to
be
live
like-
forever,
be
but
very-
except you don't get any more sunlight.
I want to be a mommy.
I
Kitty,
hear
Oh.
vampires suck.
Aw.
Oh, Jen.
You'd like to be like the Cylons, where you die, you download into a new body.
I would love to be a skin job. That would be awesome. That would be awesome to be a full skin job. I'd walk.
what about being a replicant in Blade Runner?
Or like a replicator in Stargate.
A replicator.
They became humans.
Oh, what was the
three-year
movie with Gary
lifespan to
Sinise
rest.
with the doppelgangers? It was a film with Gary Sinise in it.
Oh, yeah.
And like if they realized that they were a doppelganger or whatever, like they exploded or something.
Oh, I like Nerdy's liquid metal body from Terminator 2.
I like that.
It was a film with Gary Sinise, and that's gonna bug me.
So I met that guy in real life, and he was a
I
total
don't think
asshole.
I've seen that one. Last one I've seen was what was that Mars thing that he did there? It was the last Gary
Red
Sinise
Planet
movie I've
or
seen.
Mission to Mars?
Yeah, I think it was Mission to Mars. I think Red Planet was.
No,
Val
Red Planet
Kilmer.
had Val Kilmer. Which
Multiplicity
honestly, I
was
love
a-
that film.
the space janitor.
Yeah, no, it's like in the Space Janitor, I believe the term is mechanical systems engineer, but we will accept Space Janitor.
Is
Did
that
you find
also?
us a good parking spot right between Phobos and Deimos?
Isn't that also
I
when
love
they play Van Halen and what's his name, and they do that dance in the ship? Is that the same movie, or is that no? That's the other one with Don Cheadle.
No, that's the other one.
Yeah, that's the one with Don Cheadle. I get him.
But no, like those two movies came out really close together, like within like a couple years of each other. But like Red Planet, I loved the Val Kilmer flick. I thought it was really cool that it was like, hey, there's oxygen on Mars. Like the terraforming didn't work. Like all the fucking algae's gone, but we can breathe. And I thought that was like really cool.
But it came from insects. It was awesome.
And his robot dog was
I like
trying
that
to.
theory.
His robot dog tried to kill him.
Yeah. No, it is such a great film.
Yeah, well, there's a cat actually.
Oh, it was a cat.
I mean,
See, now I have to watch the movie.
Speaking
I mean,
of that, I honestly think that, as we get closer and closer to colonizing Mars, we are going to see a shift because as I've said on a previous stream, we're going to be sending our best and brightest to Mars, and they're going to have to be cooperative to survive. So it's going to be a commune, a socialist type of society where everybody's needs are met because you need it to survive.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to prosper. It's not going to happen in my lifetime unless I become a vampire. Hint, hint, any vampires watching. But eventually they're going to advance in technology, science, and medicine, and they're going to leave Earth in the dust, so to speak, because they are not worried about a profit motive. They're worried about like just surviving and doing better. And I do think it's going to end up leading to a war between, you know, those that have colonized Mars, because eventually it'll be open up to civilians as well, but you'll still be, you know, millions of miles or however far away from Earth. So it's like anybody on that planet, your life is tied to your neighbor's life in a way that you just don't see people comprehending here on Earth.
So
That's why
have
you
we
get people
moved
to
into
go
the
around without a
expanse
mask.
now, have we?
Okay,
So,
I got something
honestly-
to say about the whole Mars thing.
Mars won't have
Why
the-
in the world are we going to Mars when it basically has the same thing going on as the moon? Why are we being distracted with everything Mars when there are different planets or planetoids, moons, whatever, that are more stable for human life than it is just going to... What the hell is it with the planet Mars?
Because it
Is
takes
just,
3 to
you
4
know, does
times as
NASA
long
love
to
the color
get to one of those
red?
other moons. We need to learn how to do this first.
It's the closest place that could
Yes,
be
but
habitable.
not our moon. Our moon
Our moon is
also
not-
has no atmosphere, and we could still develop something there much closer than Mars.
You are talking about a
wasting
moon with
resources
1/6 the gravity
going,
as opposed
you
to
know.
a planet with 1/3 the gravity, and we know that there are problems for us in the less amount of gravity that human beings are in.
Yeah, but in Star Trek, they had Lake Armstrong on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing. It's like our bodies are not meant to handle less than 1G. Like our Earth's gravity, it's what our bodies developed to handle.
Okay.
And going to Mars is much closer to the gravity of Earth, and the moon is much farther. Like it's basically, you know, as Jen was
that
saying,
makes more sense.
And
1/6 the
terraforming
gravity.
Mars will be easier than terraforming the moon.
But on
Because
Mars,
there's already
you've
an
got more
atmosphere
gravity.
on Mars,
But
and
Mars-
there's more gravity to hold said atmosphere. The moon does not have any atmosphere. Mars has a thin one, but it still has one. It's
Yeah,
something to
and
work
we can
with.
thicken it.
It's full John Carter
No,
though, because
actually,
you're gonna be
hold
able to
on.
jump you're gonna be able to jump 10, 15 feet in the air. It's gonna be
So-
like literally like John Carter, which is gonna be awesome.
The reason why Mars doesn't have an atmosphere is because it is not close enough to the sun. Yeah.
It's because
No.
it didn't have enough gravity to hold on to its
atmosphere.
atmosphere.
And it got it cooled down too quickly, and therefore no longer had a magnetosphere to protect itself from the solar wind. So
Ding
the
ding
solar...
ding 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 ding.
And then, because it has less gravity, it wasn't able to hold on to its atmosphere as the solar wind tore its atmosphere off. So earlier
combination of
in
the
Mars life, it would have had a lot thicker atmosphere, but it has quickly lost it. For the moon's closer to us. The
Okay,
moon's got 1/6
once
the
again,
gravity
so
and not a
why
hope in
not-
hell of ever hanging on to an atmosphere. Whereas Mars, we could get there, we can build domes there, we can build things. And we've also got another advantage with Mars, and that's that it's a little bit further away from the sun. And whilst that's not great for the temperature of the planet, it's great for how much less intense the solar flares are by the time they reach Mars, which means we can protect our astronauts better. If there is a solar flare that's heading towards the moon, and we have astronauts on it, they have to bunker down somewhere with really, really thick walls, or else they get a radiation dosage that's big enough that it will kill them. This was a huge risk we played during Apollo. If there had been a solar flare whilst they'd been there, they were dead.
And that's how the Fantastic Four are made. Let's do it.
I wish
Cosmic radiation.
No, just send me up there when the Phoenix Force is flying by. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to be
I
a vampire. If you want to be a vampire, date Blade.
From X-Men?
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
You want to be a daywalker,
Which one,
though,
though?
Kitty?
Which
You want to be a
one, though? 'Cause
daywalker.
There's nothing wrong with Wesley Snipes. Pay your tax. Wesley Snipes.
I'll just get
nothing
SPF 10 million. I'll be fine. I
Well,
don't go out in the
Wesley-
sun anyway. Like I wear long sleeves in the middle of summer. Like I'll be fine.
I do too.
Or
And I
I'll
live
move
with the
to Fort
sunshine.
Washington
You have to
and
get the
not
blue
sparkle.
from RoboCop.
That movie was so unrealistic. It's not even funny.
One of the things
Partially
people don't
vampires.
consider about when we send people
Try
to
a
Mars,
pint of this blue stuff.
when we send people to Mars, they are going to be attacked by all the robots who know they were sent there to die.
Isn't that in Mission to Mars, or isn't that one when there's a line that says, when we get to Mars, what are we going to find? And someone else says, all of our trash that we've been sending there. Oh, what movie is that?
I mean, there's a bunch
No,
of
that's
trash.
Rudolph
Like we
and
have
the
a
Island
halo
of
of
Misfits
trash
Toys.
above our planet. Like
Well,
there's
there
literally
is
a trash
point
layer.
with our,
Wait.
our space exploration. If we don't start cleaning up space, we are actually going to make it impossible for us to get there because of the trash
I
in the
just
way.
had, I just
Well,
had
The
a
yeah,
great
fleck of
idea.
paint is like a bullet.
Yeah.
I just had
Yeah,
a
we're
great
already
idea.
having a problem just keeping all the satellites in orbit without them
Guys.
getting hit by random nuts and bolts.
So, am I wrong? Was there a
Hear out my
Japanese?
great idea. Oh, hear
Was
out
there-
my great idea. Hear out my great idea.
Go ahead.
Okay, there's a bunch of junk floating around the Earth, right? You go up there, you weld a bunch of shit together, boom, you got a fucking house for free.
Yeah, most of the
that just
junk is
orbits the Earth.
tiny.
And a
You're gonna be
radiator.
welding for a long time. Hey, what's a little radiation damage to the skin, huh? I live in Florida. You think I don't deal with radiation?
So
live in
Voyager-
Australia.
I mean, I live in Florida too, but do I look like I get a lot of radiation?
What race is that?
I mean, I'm
Oh.
pale as shit too, so you know what? You're right.
Is it the Malons in Voyager? The Malons? They're the ones that scavenge all the trash.
Yes.
So it's not on their planet. Is that what it's called? The Malons? I watch way too much Star Trek. Sorry.
I've only ever watched
Kitty,
Next Gen
you
and
gotta be about
TOS.
the whitest chick. Kitty, you got to be about the whitest chick I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of movies with geisha girls in them.
Like, I actually have, like, the reason I show up so well is because I am so fucking pale. Like, and I have some of the light here turned off. Like, I can literally make it even brighter, like, and reflect the light even more. Because I have a lit mirror here.
Wow.
So it's like I've got part of the light covered so that it looks more natural. But if I open this up, then I'm glowing.
But you look more like a vampire, so I mean.
Wow.
I do.
That's great.
Even better when you have the teeth in.
Yeah. No, like, honestly, I just want, like, fucking
Although you do look
genetic
really like
engineering
Harley Quinn now, not
vampire.
like a vampire.
And yes,
You just need the
Jimmy,
I wanna
baseball
be a
bat.
vampire. I do. I'm gonna make the costume. Honestly, I'm gonna make the Harley Quinn Suicide Squad costume, and I'll rock
please.
those little hot shorts.
Oh yeah,
So-
you'd rock them.
So a while ago, Ox said, "How about we learn to take care of the planet we're on before we venture out to destroy another?" And
you guys, now that you're all done talking about your stupid science fiction crap, if we really had brains, we would be seeking to establish the culture all over the planet of Wonder Woman.
now I have the '70s version song stuck in my
Shut
head.
up. We're getting rid
Wonder
of the man.
Woman. Wonder Woman.
I honestly think that we need to
Hanging
establish
song.
on Mars because we fucked this planet. I think that we're not going to get our shit together before we pass the point of no return, and having a forward base on Mars where we can figure out the shit that needs to do for us to colonize other planets.
Kitty,
And
It's
we're
not
500
even that.
years
Everything
away
we
from
learn
that.
from
But
being in
Kitty,
space can be
gotta start
reapplied
somewhere.
back here.
we got to
But
start
Kitty-
somewhere, and we got to
Yeah,
start
but-
now.
But Kitty,
we got
but
500
Kitty-
years before we'll be able to actually colonize it with numbers big enough that matter.
Wonder Woman.
It's
Okay, so can I say this thing? Okay, because this is why, okay, we don't even need to terraform Mars if we're all fucking robots.
You know what?
I actually thought this out because we could
I'll be a
travel
cyborg.
anywhere. We could travel anywhere if we're robots because all we need is power, and we can like find a way to generate power from cosmic background radiation.
yeah, but
You
if we-
people
if
are
we-
all
if we
missing the
turn into-
obvious.
If we
We
turn
don't
into
need-
a global colony of Wonder Women, that we'd have so much better fashion.
What were you gonna say, Perps?
We don't need to go to another planet. Global warming is going to melt the ice caps. It's going to open up the passages, and we can move into the hollow Earth.
Hey,
Well done, Perps. Problem solved. No,
Home run.
I mean, all honesty, it's not just about us. I mean, there's lots of things we could do if we were working towards actually being a post-scarcity society. We could overcome a lot of the problems that we have as far as the pollution on our planet and everything. We could solve those problems. They're not
corporate greed is still
insolvable.
the
They're
biggest
just
hit.
Here's the thing.
there's just no political will to solve them. That's the problem.
Jen,
I agree.
you don't need to solve pollution if you're a robot.
Oh, for goodness
You don't
sake.
need to breathe if you're a robot. You don't. You really don't.
Yeah, but then we're back to the Borg planet where the sky's black. If I'm a skin job, I want the sun to shine at least, you know.
Yeah,
We
you want to
can
be able to go to
create
a
the
fake
beach.
sun.
You want to be able to have some bit
Yeah.
of fun.
I'll be a full conversion cyborg.
Yeah, when I'm
just
done
saying-
with
You
this,
know what?
buddy.
Here we're talking about
Convenient. Things would be far
a
more
different
convenient if we
conversion
as-
of life itself. And the thing of it is, if you give up your humanity, I mean, a lot of your humanity is the senses that you sense the environment that you're in order to conduct yourself appropriately. Now, if you just go around
we
numb
can
all
make
the damn time,
analogs.
you're
we
just
can
going to
make
lose your humanity.
We can make analogs of senses. It's very
You know, this
it's
is
very
gonna
easy to
dovetail
program
with-
a button.
Hey, you leave
It
my anal
isn't
alone.
yet. We
I
don't
want
have that
nothing.
kind of technology yet, Jen. We really don't.
This is gonna
Not yet,
dovetail
but
with
I mean, there's a
yesterday's
lot of
discussion.
advancement in robotics and programming
What
and
foolishness
software engineering.
And the human
I'm just
mind
saying,
knows,
it's
the
possible.
shadow knows.
We can't
make
even
your mind.
transplant a human brain into another human body. I mean, we are a long way from what you're talking about, but we're not a long way from being able to colonize Mars to start terraforming. Those technologies are within our grasp.
Yes, but I'm just saying- I'm just saying-
We are close to being able to put people on Mars for an extended period of time. We're nowhere close to colonizing.
No,
They're gonna go there to die.
Okay, that's still
Yes,
a political
yeah.
thing. That's a political thing, Jen. If we had the political will and a cooperative Earth, we could do it. We could definitely
so
do it. We have the
I'm-
technology.
Go ahead, Purple. Go ahead.
Well,
we can
no,
make them better. We have the
to actually
technology.
have a colony there, they have to be able to grow their own food there. They can't be
Building
dependent on us just shipping food to them every week.
Building
Absolutely.
materials, tools, machines. You don't do this with hand labor.
Just yesterday, I watched Neil
We are
deGrasse.
a long way from colonizing.
So yesterday, I watched this thing with Neil deGrasse Tyson on his channel, and he basically said the people that are going there have to know they're going there to die.
Yes.
They're not coming back. They're not, there's no, it's going to be hard. The first people that go there, it's going to be,
It's going to be worse than the original settlers
exactly.
for the
I
US
didn't
or
want-
for Australia. It's much
I didn't want
worse.
to bring it up. But
No, but
Jen's
Was it
right.
even if you
Roanoke
spell,
or
Botany
even
Bay.
if you spell it out like that, there are still thousands of people who will volunteer.
Yes. Who know exactly
True.
what they're getting themselves into. And it's
but
something
if
we
there's
do
informed
have to do.
consent, then go for it.
This
You know,
is a-
like if you want to be part of like that step forward, like
Go for it.
And when
But
everybody
it's also
finds
something
out-
we do have to do because
Wouldn't be
survival
me.
of our species depends on it. At some
Need to be
point,
entertained too much.
some catastrophe is going to befall this planet that we have no power over. Being a
So-
multi-planet
An asteroid.
species is a requirement for our
So-
survival.
Absolutely.
And when the people
So,
here
Oxen-
find out that the people would last about a year and not accomplish a damn thing,
Then they
you're not
die.
gonna get the truth.
I've
So-
seen that movie.
Oxen the side chat has made an interesting point. Send all the prisoners to Mars to build a new world. If they fail, we'll solve at least one problem. We should make Super Australia on Mars.
Yeah, but that goes okay, I'm from America. We create our own problems. Because what if Super Australia comes back and conquers Earth?
So,
What-
Will, you have a choice between death row and going to Mars. What are you going to choose?
Suge Knight is awesome, so I would totally choose Death Row.
What you're talking about now is another Heinlein book, The Moon is a Harsh Mistress.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely,
don't want
Bert.
to walk the Green Mile.
Also,
Yeah, that
also,
basically they turned the moon into a prison colony, and the moon decided they didn't want to be a colony anymore, and turn their mass driver into a weapon to start hurtling asteroids at the Earth.
That's episode 2 of Blake 7. That is that. No,
Also-
it's the second or third episode.
Oh,
of
Blake
this
7
first
is
season.
awesome. Now, there's a
just thought
dystopian
some-
future. Blake 7 is very dystopian.
Absolutely.
I just thought of something. Okay. Also, as part of the punishment of the prisoners being sent to Mars, their brain is put in a rover and they experience everything.
See, I'm not for torture. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's not
even
torture.
ah,
Don't be
yeah,
under anesthetic when it
we're back,
happens.
we're back to the Cybermen in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Where, like every time Doctor Who turns the inhibitor off, they're screaming.
I'll say if we're gonna
You don't know they'll be
adopt
screaming.
if we're gonna
I'm
adopt
good.
something for like a future like penal system thing, it needs to be the Justice Zone from Red Dwarf.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Well,
he
well,
said
if we-
penal.
Or how about we bring back the pain booths from Star Trek the original and all the crossovers now that go to the other side.
Oh,
See-
you mean from the Mirror
In the original,
Universe?
yeah, the Mirror Universe, they had pain
Yeah.
booths where they would shove people in and they would completely torture them, but they wouldn't die. That
I mean,
to
that's
me, that's worse than I would rather be shot than put in something like that.
I mean, to be honest, that is like the epitome of a dystopian society, is the Terran Empire.
Absolutely.
And you
It's also,
would
it's
still
also a
have
society that I just could not see actually working in any reality whatsoever.
And Discovery made it even more grimy because they made it more to our century, you know. So they showed how at any corner you turn, you get stabbed, or any moment you get challenged, you have to stand. It's like jail. At any moment you have to defend yourself, you know.
But you know what, those pain booths, you would still get people from the BDSM community volunteering because the idea of being tortured and knowing they would not die would be the ultimate turn on.
So you have to clean the booth after they put him in there, huh?
Yep.
Why is this booth so sticky?
So here's the problem:
My
the
kind of
blood is
people.
pink. Like all of it, all of the blood is pink. We're not sure how. Like, what the fuck happened here?
But honestly, I don't think that we as a species will ever arrive at a utopia. I don't. I don't
agree.
think we're ever going to actually, at this rate, I don't think that we're going to succeed in colonizing Mars.
So to quote my favorite doctor, I'm quoting Peter Capaldi. It was like the second or third episode. And they were looking. This robot was looking for utopia, and he looked at it and said, "You have to know utopia is not real. It's all made up." And I truly feel like that. Like, it's something we tell ourselves to explain why society sucks. It's the promised land. It's always something to reach for that isn't
It's
there.
just another heaven.
Yeah.
It's a heaven thing.
Yeah.
Unobtainable perfection.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's unobtainable because people have different ideas for it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Like I was saying, that one of the things that put me off of religion was realizing there was no version of heaven my eldest brother and I could coexist in.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I mean, that brings us to the question: is would we even want a utopian society?
If it was in my favor, yeah. But if it
See,
wasn't,
that's the
then
problem,
no.
though. I mean, a utopian society is only a utopia for a handful of people. You know, a particular utopian society.
That will
You will
always
not
be the
find a
problem.
society that's perfect for everybody.
utopia
The
can't be
whole definition
egalitarian.
of utopia, it would be in everyone's favor.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
impossible, I think.
See, I don't think we can ever get a utopia in terms of certainly in terms of a perfect society is not possible. I think the best we can hope to get to is a post-scarcity society that distributes where there's far more even distribution of goods and services. That is I think is possibly going to be the best we can hope to achieve.
Yes,
I can't believe
agree, Jeff.
you're missing this, folks. If you're going to have a utopia, what is a utopia? Utopia is society or culture perfected. Okay, if it's going to be perfected, it's like the word unique. Unique doesn't require any qualifiers. There's no such thing as very unique or really unique or exceptionally unique. It's unique.
So,
And if you're going for utopia, there's only one way to have utopia, and that's complete perfection, which means each person would have their own personal utopia.
I
And
just wanna-
honestly, that's
I
just not
wanna-
viable.
It's,
I just want to say, like,
It's an oxymoron.
I am fully aware that my utopia is definitely not anyone else. Well, it's probably not anyone else's. If anyone else out there, contact me. I want to know your story. Why are you? I was about to say, why are you?
Why are you so
fucked up?
weird?
But I
Hey,
believe it.
if you say it enough, you will find somebody. Keep saying
So
it. You'll find somebody.
do I want my utopia? No, because I do not want that enacted upon other people. I do not want people forcefully turned into robots. I'm not some sick, like deranged
Cyberman
Doctor Who
creator.
villain. You know, I'm not like
Those
the
are my
Daleks
favorite-
creator, right? I'm not like creating monsters.
I think the only kind of achievable utopia would be something like the Matrix.
Yes,
where
a
basically
simulated
everyone has
utopia.
their own private universe that they are the center of.
To be fair, you don't know that we don't actually live in that.
Oh,
Not
that
that I would
No,
call
no,
my
no,
personal
no.
universe here a
That is such a
utopia.
bogus argument.
I'd
That's a rabbit hole. No, that's a
Listen, if
rabbit
I
hole.
put-
Yeah, but here's the thing. We can apply the same logic we use to God as we can to this. Does it directly impact our existence?
No,
No.
evangelicals
It's
have started
outside
using.
of our existence.
No, but-
therefore it doesn't really matter in
I'll
the
say this.
conversation
So,
of the
but
universe.
evangelicals have
I'll
started.
say this.
Hold on, one second. Evangelicals have started using these arguments. They've started using the multiverse. They've started using like, oh, but what about this? It's another goalpost that we can't prove, you know.
Yeah.
So unless I can see it, unless it can smack me in the face, you know.
Well, like
Like a
Matrix
giant
theory-
dildo.
Yeah. Hey, Saturday night sounds like fun.
You know, I actually had a friend that worked at a sex shop, and he had a, I think it was like a 32-inch long, double-ended black dildo he named Leroy. He kept it in the trunk of his car, and like if he got into a fight, he'd whip it out and just smack somebody with it.
Oh, a double deal would annihilate somebody.
I like the fact that he
It's
called
like
it
a
Leroy.
weapon from a video game.
That's fucking awesome.
That
Leroy.
sounds like a
Oh.
weapon from a video game. I swear to God, there's a weapon in a video game that's just like a 12-inch dildo.
A double
I mean, it
deal.
was all in good fun. Like, it didn't hurt. Like, I mean, it was heavy. Like, I handled the thing, and like, I mean, it was big and it was heavy. But like, when it smacked you, it was like being smacked with like a fucking like rubber, like gummy thing. Like
Gummy bear attack.
essentially, it's
So,
like
did you get
imagine,
arrested
you know, those like
for
10
assault
pound
with a friendly weapon?
Now
Yeah,
I
but-
want to get a whole heap of gummy bears, melt them down, and make a great big dildo out of gummy bears.
Okay, so like they actually sell giant like 10-pound gummy worms. The things are like that big around and really long. It is essentially that. If
Okay,
you get a
so-
giant dildo like that, it is like
This
a
is-
giant gummy worm.
This is free marketing. It's called. They're on VAT19. They're on VAT19.com. My son used to watch it. They invented it. They make gummy worms that are sour gummy worms that are 5 pounds. They make all kinds of crazy stuff. VAT19.
And see, that is what you need to commit a crime, because you kill someone and then you eat the weapon, so there's no evidence.
Oh, you could knock somebody out
Oh,
with
it's
a
like that
5-pound worm.
Hitchcock Presents episode with the leg of lamb.
And fried green tomatoes.
But no, there was an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, and in it, you had a woman that, you know, her husband comes home and, like, he's, like, tired. He's a cop. And he has a drink, and she's like, so, you know, are you ready to go? Because they're supposed to go out for dinner that night. And he was like, I'm leaving you. I found somebody else. And like, she's pregnant, she's stunned, like, you know, this is 50s housewife kind of thing. And she was like, you know, you're just confused. Let me make you a hot meal, you know, everything will be fine. Like, and so she's kind of on autopilot, like coping with the fact that he just threw this curveball at her. She goes out into the freezer and gets out this giant leg of lamb that was frozen. And you know, she comes up behind him and she clubs him in the head with it and kills him. Excuse me. Then she puts it in the oven. Sorry. She puts it in the oven to cook, and she goes down to the shop, picks up some veggies, then comes home, drops the bag, knocks some stuff over, like he's dead on the floor, calls up the police and reports it. And the cops like come down to investigate and everything. They're taking her statement. They're like, this seems a little weird, you know? And finally, when they get ready to leave, you know, they've been there for hours combing, looking for the club murder weapon. And they pull out the lamb, and she's like, you know, you guys have all been really, you know, working hard, so why don't you guys eat it? I can't eat, like, after everything that's happened, so you'd be doing me a favor so it doesn't go to waste. So all the cops end up eating the murder weapon.
Yeah.
It's
That's awesome. That is
great.
That's called Lamb to the Slaughter. That was a short story by Roald Dahl. It was adapted it was adapted into Hitchcock Presents, and then later Tales of the Unexpected as well.
I love that show, Jeff, and I still watch it to this very day. It's on YouTube.
But if
they actually have that episode, Lamb to the Slaughter, is on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a short story by Roald Dahl originally.
Oh,
if
wow.
you've got a freezer, though, that's going the hard way about it. If you've got a freezer, all you need is a giant icicle to stab them with. You just need a stabby burr stick.
Or like the movie Fried Green Tomatoes, feed them to the pigs.
You know, they'll find
that's
stab
Soylent Green for animals,
a
is
little bit
it?
of frostbite, and they'll find a puddle of water.
So is Soylent Green a
Actually,
utopia or a
Fried Green
dystopia?
Tomatoes, they didn't feed the guy to the pigs. They cooked him and served him up as the barbecue as a pig.
Yep.
Oh, that's
I have a question.
right.
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So you guys can't hear me. Never mind. Yeah, no. That's all I wanted to know was if you guys could hear me. So if someone responded to me, I would be fine with it. Okay.
It's okay.
Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I ask that is because I turned off my voice mode, and sometimes that fucks over like everything. Yeah. Can I read you guys my children's book? It's like the rough draft. I just chat this out like tonight. So.
Go ahead.
Is this like that Dr. Seuss thing that you had posted in the Twitter group?
So, content warning. Violence.
Children's book?
Depression.
Time out.
No questions. No questions until the end. No questions until the end.
Hold on, really quick. As somebody who's like called a publisher, you never want to have trigger warning in children's book in the same sentence.
Yeah.
I can't even say it. Sorry, I can't say it without laughing.
Listen to the title.
You caught me. You caught me. I'm sorry.
Just hear me out. It's The Monster Under Your Bed is Real and It's Capitalism by Genesis Undead.
That's not
not a kid's story.
All alone you sit in bed. You cannot shake a sense of dread. Mommy and daddy are in a fight. It can be heard throughout the night. You wonder why they act this way. I'll tell you if you shall stay. The monster under your bed is real, and all your life one day he'll steal. Oh, don't you cry, don't be afraid. He'll eat you slow so you waste away. This is not a fairy tale. This it will happen without fail. Capitalism is its name. It will keep you locked in chains. Daddy got his gun again. Mommy's looking up at him. I'm sorry, he says, and shoots her dead. And then again, but him instead. All of this happened, by the way, because tomorrow's rent day. If only you had more money, maybe then you'd still have mommy. But unfortunately, capitalism comes knocking on the door. Your medical expenses are no longer paid for. Kidney failure isn't cheap, so maybe you'll be asleep. One that never seems to end. Capitalism is not your friend.
Hey.
I mean, I love it, but that's dark. Then again, I'm not really one to talk because I started working on a novel like 10 years ago, and I still haven't finished it, but it's basically, it was a coping mechanism for me for dealing with some of the shit that I've been through. And in it, there's a doctor. She's a medical examiner, and she was assaulted as a teenager. And the book opens with her saying the line, "You never forget your first time." And it's, she's meeting up with this guy, and you think, oh, it's going to be like your first time having sex kind of thing. But no, she actually, tortures and kills him because he had assaulted her. And, she goes on to lead her life. She's a pillar of the community. Everybody loves her. She's actually the number 2 medical examiner behind a guy that misses things. And so this was actually started before Dexter was a thing. But when she sees he'll write off the death of a baby as like SIDS, but it was actually the mom killed the baby for like attention. And so it, after telling the story of what had happened to the guy the first time, it cuts to a darkened room where the mother of the baby that she killed is sitting in the room. And Regina is literally telling this story of her first kill to her victim to psychologically traumatize her before she kills her.
Awesome.
Not
so
a
psychological thriller. That sounds pretty cool.
Okay, but so I just have to say this. Like, obviously, my children's book is a parody children's book. I'm not gonna market this for actual kids. It's just gonna be a joking thing, and maybe some sick parents out there will let their kids read this. My parents probably would have.
Why don't you send a copy to Shel Silverstein?
I
miss those books.
I have a story I wrote years ago that I do not want to finish because the characters scare me. They have a wonderful supportive relationship, but it's like if somebody got matched up on a dating service because their common interests were things like collecting knives and dismembering people.
Oh, so vampirefreaks.com.
Yeah, but these characters really scare me. I don't want to deal with them anymore, but they keep coming back.
Understandable.
Yeah, it's freaky how your characters talk to you after a while if you're writing stories.
Well, like Regina is kind of a parallel for me.
Jen, I haven't written any complex stories, but I am playing a character, and it's hard to shake him off. I'll get stuck in talking my like really bad fake Australian accent, and I can't turn it off for a while, and then I'm like, fuck, I'm stuck with this for the rest of the night, I guess.
But for me, I mean, writing writing was like a coping mechanism, It's like my character was kind of an analog for me. Like my dad wanted to name me Regina, so there's like symbolism in why I chose that name for the protagonist / anti-hero of my story, because she's not a good person. Like somebody that can torture and kill people is not a good person, but she only tortures and kills bad people, so it's like anti-hero type mentality. But yeah, no, like there are times like I would sit there and I was like, what would Regina do?
I had an imaginary friend. His name was Jesus. And every time something bad happened and I got away with it, I said, hey, my imaginary friend helped me out. But it was just me being lucky.
The end.
Yeah, exactly.
So many people on our planet have an imaginary friend.
You're solved.
I still make fun of myself for all the crazy woo-woo I believed.
But back to the topic, like I honestly don't think, as we were saying, that a utopia is actually possible. Dystopia, absolutely. I think we're in a dystopia right now, at least in the US. But a utopia, like I'm hopeful that enough people will need push for the change that we need so that we can move forward. Like I have a little bit of hope because the younger generations do tend to be much more progressive and inclusive and egalitarian in their political leanings. Like I ideally want an egalitarian society where everybody has equal rights, your basics are covered, and we're post-scarcity. Like
yes,
that
I think
is the
that's
closest
all
we can get.
achievable. I agree, Kitty. I think post-scarcity and an egalitarian and even a more altruistic society is completely achievable. But I still don't think it'll be utopian. We will still have...
Exactly.
You will still have people who miss out for some reason. You will still have... you'll still have people who are trying to game the system and, try to make things better for themselves and other people in it.
Or
That's
even
human
design a
nature, and I
baby.
don't think we can get rid of it.
Like, I mean, you might see things where you see a genetic disparity because you start having people make designer babies with, better genes. And then it comes down to everyone has equal access to care, but you have to have money for, like, really
What was that
expensive,
movie?
like, gene therapies.
I'm
Here's
sure
the thing.
also-
Gattaca.
Gattaca, yes, Gattaca. That was Gattaca.
Oh,
So,
so,
I mean-
sci-fi? I'm good to right.
I have a question for the panel.
Yeah.
I have a question for the
I'm
panel.
sure
Are you
that the
tired of?
evangelicals would find a reason to ban utopia on whatever the Bible says. They'll pick something out that indicates that.
I agree.
I have a question for the panel. So, are you tired of medical expenses, grocery shopping, wasting time in traffic, working a job that nobody thanks you for? I got an answer for you. We all become robots. I'm just saying, no, it's like the best solution. I know it sounds crazy, and I know a lot of people are not on board with this, and I know, like, some people would say it's unethical, but just robots.
I'm gonna
That's
say
all I have
something.
to
I'm gonna
say.
say something that's semi-funny, and it's a joke. But as a bender, I don't want to be a robot.
Yeah, I kind of like
Yep.
having a nice warm white scotch to put things in.
I think
I
the
like
problem-
having boobs.
No one got the joke.
I like having a vagina. I like having a
I know,
clitoris.
I know Jeff
Like,
did.
I like these
You can have
things.
those things on a robot body. Why can you not have those things on a robot body? Why can you not have those things on a robot
Because
body?
they wouldn't be
Motion
flesh.
He just said.
It's the
I was
flesh.
It could be synth flesh. It can be synth flesh.
It's okay. Then we're back to Doctor Who. Almost people. Then we're to the almost people, where you make avatars of yourself, and then you're sitting in a thing, and you kind of control them.
Like surrogates.
God, those were good episodes with Matt Smith.
You can
Almost
be
people.
programmed to think that it feels exactly the same as if it was flesh.
And then
Right,
you're
but then
programmed
you're
and you no
programmed
longer
that way.
have...
Yeah, but no, you're programmed already, like, in your human brain. We are programmed by our experiences and biases.
I mean, this sounds actually so far-fetched considering the sex
You know what?
robots.
I don't want to be a
pretty much here.
robot because I don't want to pay no. There's no way I'm going to go pay a hooker to come up with a 10 millimeter to lick my balls. I got to be human for that shit.
That was hilarious.
I don't want to be like Bender.
I think that the problem we would have with a post-scarcity society is overcoming human psychology. You have to convince people that there are enough resources that there's nothing worth fighting for.
Exactly. And that's the problem. Is, like I said earlier, is it inherent for us to hurt each other?
Well, it's inherent for people to hoard resources.
And then fight over them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Any
agree with
perception
that.
of scarcity.
Will,
There doesn't
you
have to be an
remember-
actual scarcity of anything. Any perception of a shortage. I mean,
Look
look
at
what
the toilet
happened with the
paper run with
toilet paper
COVID.
last year. Yeah.
True. That's so true. I was ready to punch someone in the parking lot. I was so mad. That's true. It disappeared in Southern California. Toilet paper disappeared.
You know what you wouldn't need if you were a robot? Toilet paper.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I'm not going to let go of this.
It's
If you
really
allow-
weird. We talked about.
You have to
Tired of
sometime or
shitting?
you might get
Do you not like
arrested.
the feeling of shitting? Do you not like to take a shit? If you don't like
We-
taking shits, then you could become a robot.
If you allow fleshy bits, you're
you'd
gonna
still
have
need
to
an
have
oil
waste
change for
removal.
Pete's sakes.
We've
I
talked
like
about.
food. I like eating.
Yes.
You can have
Yes.
taste receptors.
Yeah.
We can figure out how to make taste
Then
receptors.
you
have
have to
taste-
shit.
Yeah,
I
at
have
that
to- I
point,
have
you're
to-
actually better off growing an entire new body for somebody and transplanting their brain into that new body so they can have a fresh body.
I would do that. I would give up my body for a fresh one because like my body's fucked up. Like, and I deal with pain every minute of the day. That's one of the reasons I want to become a vampire, so that like, you know, because when you become a vampire, like a lot of shit gets better, you know? And
Go to the French
I would
Quarter,
hope that it
see
would fix my
New Orleans.
central nervous system issues.
Here's the thing. Oh, okay.
See, we've talked about
Actually,
like, a
I'm
number
sorry, I cut
of.
you off.
Go ahead, Jeff.
No,
Yeah,
I
we've
cut
talked-
Kitty off.
Go on, Jeff.
Honey.
Okay. We've talked about all these potential future societies, utopias, dystopias. We've all got a lot of ideas from literature and films. Yeah, I don't think anyone's brought up the one thing that I actually sometimes feel we're heading towards.
Mad Max.
Idiocracy.
We're already there.
Feel that we are practically there already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
We're there.
Well, wouldn't that
Terry
almost be the
Crews and
Futurama
Josh
future
and-
then? So we're heading for Futurama.
Buddies.
People in Texas were putting candles under snowballs. We're there.
Gwyneth Paltrow sold a candle
Thanks,
that
Bill Gates, for
apparently
trying to
smells like
make
her
Texas
vagina.
look
I mean, come on, that's
Yeah. And a stone for your butt, too.
Hey, Bill.
And a steamer for your vagina.
Oh,
Steaming vaginal
Oh, okay,
eggs,
yeah.
a vagina scented candle.
Yuck.
Just one question
Yo,
someone
Duke
has to
Labs-
explain to me.
What's that?
How did Bill Gates make a profit by it snowing in Texas?
Here's the thing.
We're there
Hey,
already. With
so-
Idiocracy. We are there.
These people, right?
Yeah, we're gonna.
They don't ever just believe in one conspiracy theory, and I think this is why any conspiracy theory is
I'll be right
dangerous, right? So, like, the whole Bill Gates fake snow conspiracy, they probably believe in other shit, you know? Like, crazy spreads. You don't just, like, you know, you don't watch a Jilly Juice video and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. There's plenty you can criticize Bill Gates about. Like, I
yeah.
brought this up on a stream recently where I think it was Oxford. They were going to make their vaccine open source. So anybody could then make that vaccine because the formula, so to speak, the process would be open source. And that would increase availability of the vaccine to more people. Bill Gates, however, went in and dangled millions of dollars in grants over their head to get them to sell it to, I believe it was AstraZeneca, but I could be wrong on which company.
It is
And
AstraZeneca.
he owned stock in that company, so that made him money.
Dude, that's fucked.
And it would have been open source, which meant like one less barrier between getting people vaccinated
Yeah.
for COVID. That's fucked up.
Nobody's paying a dime for this, except us through our tax and through our tax dollars. But nobody's is even expected to pay for their COVID shot.
In other countries, they are.
So he made
That's in the United States. No, you don't understand. They tested the
one. There's 3 different companies now. There's another 5 online to introduce versions. It's
right, but one of the vaccines was tested on black and brown people in South Africa, and they tested them on this community, and then they're charging them. I think it was double, or it might have been even more than that, for the vaccine of anywhere else. In fact, they had to send an ambassador or something to the World Health Organization, I believe it was, to basically say, hey, look, like we're being gouged here for the price of the vaccine. Just because in the United States the tax dollars are paying for it, that doesn't mean that it's going to make it available to everybody. I'm thinking globally, not just the United States.
Is that Bill Gates' fault or is that their government's fault?
Aerosolized vaccine that's sprayed out of jets.
Then you got chemtrail people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Now, I don't believe the South Africa thing is Bill Gates' fault. I was just saying that, you know, the fact that this would have been open source and he dangled millions in grants over the company or over the university to get them to sell the patent instead of making it open source. I think that was a fucked up thing because he had a personal stake in it because he owns stock in the company that he asked them to sell it to. And that is completely fucking unethical because he is enriching himself at the cost of others.
Yeah, but that's kind of like the whole point
It's
of
called
capitalism, right? Yeah, it's the monster under the bed.
Yeah, actually, yes. The only thing that companies are there for, the whole purpose of a corporation is to create money. That's it.
And I'm not a big Bill Gates fan, but he's given away more money to more people and done more good in the world than any billionaire I've seen in my lifetime.
Oh no, this is Bill Gates' fault. South Africa
He is
paying
very
more than double the EU price for
philanthropic.
Oxford vaccine. South Africa will have to buy doses of Oxford AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine at a price nearly 2.5 times higher than most European countries. And this is a place where they tested the vaccine on the people, and then they're charging them 2.5 times what the EU countries are paying per dose for the vaccine. And it is the AstraZeneca vaccine that Bill Gates, or the Oxford AstraZeneca one. So Bill Gates is responsible for it.
I think that the much larger cost in Africa is likely to do with issues of transportation and storage.
And there's also their population. Well, see, Africa's different. Never mind. Their population is 10 times our population.
It's but it's the age-old. It's just what people are saying. It's the kind of age-old thing. With any like great philanthropist or whatever, you kind of have to weigh it up against the amount of damage they've done actually getting their fortune in the first place, and the exploitation that
Yeah, and that never makes up for
it never quite balances the books.
Link the article in the chat, by the way.
Cool.
I just can't wait till the world opens up again so I can go judge wet t-shirt contest like a blind man because I can read Braille,
That'll get you arrested.
Hey, but you know what?
Not really.
One thing that I should
In California, it'll get
make
you
everybody
arrested.
feel better. Rush Limbaugh is still dead.
Yes, but the devastation left in his wake, and Mitch McConnell and Ted Cruz and the others are continuing his legacy.
Yeah, I
well,
know.
I think
Rush
then there's
Limbaugh is
one.
still dead.
I think we can definitely let's
make them dead.
Hit a point that I think we can all agree on. Any potential future utopian society is not going to involve a clone of or the uploaded consciousness of Rush Limbaugh anywhere in it.
Or Donald Trump.
I think we or Donald Trump. But yeah, I think we can all those are things I think we can all agree on.
I think we should exclude Gwyneth Paltrow too. Just
We gotta have plenty of blues bars
Yeah,
with
fuck
southern
Goop.
food.
In Genesis, I still do not want to be a robot.
No, neither do I. I mean,
Everything would just be so much easier.
Well, I don't want to be a robot now. I mean, like in 30 years' time, if it's a choice between you've got to become an android or you're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, yeah, I might consider it then. But
so it's circumstantial. It's just like something you can transition into liking.
But listen. So as a robot, I ordered an edible arrangement a couple days ago, and I've been eating it. I ordered it to myself. But can I do that?
Why don't we do that thing?
Can I do that? I couldn't do that as a robot. I couldn't get
forget
depressed.
the title of the movie, but
and order fruit at 2 in the morning.
That if you weren't married and procreating by the age 30, you had to turn yourself to be genetically turned into an animal of your choice.
Oh, what movie is that?
I don't know. I forget the name of it.
By the way,
one movie I haven't seen.
So this might change a lot of your guys'
Wow, that's
minds.
weird.
This might change a lot of your guys' minds about becoming robots. The only way you could ever have a full transhumanist transfer into a robot would be if you were
like a heart.
where if you were to scan your brain, create a program that was built like your memories, and then that would be you and the robot, but you would still exist. Would that change your mind?
No.
No, not really. Because one of us has to suffer.
No.
Have you ever gone 90
It's just
miles
your
an hour?
mind. It's your conscious mind as it is now, put into a robot body.
No.
Get on a
Well, I still
motorcycle.
want to masturbate without having to buy steel wool.
You
I
can
mean,
do
at that
that
point,
because you're
wouldn't it
not
just
the
make it
robot.
really shiny?
Yeah, shiny.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's a whole new meaning to polishing the knob.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that the point where Silvo becomes the lube, is it?
You could have one shiny wanker there.
All right, you finally got what you wanted, Jen. We're talking about robots now.
Stop talking about
Thank
my
you.
wanker. Move on.
Dude, crank the yank, or yank the crank means something completely different to a robot, okay? You shouldn't do that.
You know what? That's like where I'm from. Getting piped means something different than in other places.
Yeah, but I'm talking about robots. I don't know what the fuck robots care about.
Nothing, because they're robots.
Yeah, exactly.
But if they're
You know,
sentient
Steve,
robots,
Knuckle
if they're
shovel
sentient
on the
robots,
old
if
pistol.
they are you but a robot,
Okay,
but
but
it's-
here's a problem with
hold
this.
on.
We don't know where sentience comes from, or even where emotions evolve from. So is it just a case of how our memories interact, or is there something biological there that is required to have that sentience, to have that things? You're just assuming our brains are just a computer, but is our digital type computers the same as what a biological
No.
machine can do?
And
we
as
don't
human
know the
beings,
answer to that.
we anthropomorphize everything. We want to give everything a quote. We want everything to be like us. That's why, they call ships she. Still to this day, they call every cruise ship is she or her.
but sentient robots isn't that. I feel like it can be done because I genuinely think that sentience is something you can simulate.
Go
You
watch
can
Lex.
simulate everything.
Okay, go watch Lex. Lex was an awesome sci-fi show. You should watch Lex.
Okay, there are many papers out there that say, your guts are your second brain because it has just as many neurons going through your guts as it does your brain, and they communicate together. And all the rest of your senses, everything that you absorb, everything that you feel, everything that you experience runs a relay through your entire body, not just your brain. But the brain is basically the on-off controlling switch for all the rest of it. So I think the sentience and the consciousness and the you being you has to deal with the rest of your body, not just your brain and spinal column.
Simulated
In my
robot
opinion.
guts. Simulated robot guts.
Oh, God.
You can simulate everything.
So
Well, at that point, aren't you just better off building
okay,
a
so if
new
you
organic
stimulate
body for
everything
somebody?
to be a robot, why would you be a robot if you can assimilate everything that makes you human to be like an extra human?
Because
I mean, why
you
would you
wouldn't
just
age.
stay human?
You wouldn't
and-
age. You wouldn't have to eat. You wouldn't have to take a shit. You wouldn't have to piss. You wouldn't have to drink water. You wouldn't have to sleep. You wouldn't have to. There's so many things
You
that you
would
don't have to do as a
created
robot.
all the assimilated things to be a
You are
human. If you
completely
create
wrong
a
in premise.
machine,
There has not been a machine invented that doesn't require maintenance that will not wear out.
So we're gonna have
Not
to.
yet.
We're gonna have
The
to jump
machines
off.
can repair
No.
machines.
We're gonna
No,
have
it will
to.
never be.
We're
Never
gonna have to
It's
jump
called-
off because
it's called
Jen has to go to work. Jen has to go to work, so we're gonna have to jump off. And it gives me just enough
reminds me, I gotta
time,
shine my stick shift and ball bearings.
me as well, before Purple's.
No, actually, I am feeling rather weird right now, of dizzy, and I think I'm suddenly running a fever, so I'm canceling the stream for tonight.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Oh, honey,
And
I hope you're
well,
okay.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go upstairs to be up at Sloth Girls so that I'm not alone until I figure out what's going on.
Please
Okay,
get well.
so-
Yeah, keep,
Please,
keep
everybody,
us
go and
posted in the
go
DM.
and sub
Like I said,
to
Be
Peps
well.
and love
I'm going to
to-
go upstairs so I won't be here alone if anything weird happens.
Awesome. Please take care of yourself.
Take care
But yeah,
of
just
yourself,
give us updates when you can in our group DM, just so that we know that you're doing
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just sending things out on Twitter, though, that I'm canceling the chat for tonight.
Okay.
We promise we won't have you turned
First
into a
things
robot.
first. Rest.
Figure out what.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
Sorry to dinosaur.
I don't understand if you're going to go high-tech, why you would go with a robot. Why don't you go with a motorbot?
Hey. I love a good motorboat.
Eh.
yeah, beat me to a kitty.
You're welcome for that, by the way.
Oh shit.
Well, no, they jiggle.
Jiggly.
Oh my.
Yeah, we're going to have to do a little video clip of that, and that's going to go viral.
Ironically, to the 3 people that just jumped on when Kitty did that, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you'll stay.
No, like, oh, I just realized I forgot to put my foot behind my head on B's stream like I said I would. Damn.
You can do it now.
Oh, that'll
All
make
right.
you friends. That'll make you friends.
Let's see if you can do
To
it.
save
I
the
doubt
human
it.
race
And that's why you're at the popular
Wow.
Yeah.
is to have us be converted into 6-foot-tall tardigrades. Because we can live forever under extreme
But
circumstances.
that's the thing.
and-
Genetic engineering
Yep,
will
just need a
eventually
drop of water
lead
to
us
be
to the
alive.
point of making us live a lot longer, even in as humans. So, well, modified humans. But so there's no reason for thinking that.
We already have.
Yes, we already live a lot longer than what we used to, but we could actually live even longer than that. There's no reason why we can't extend the length of our telomeres so that our cells reproduce better over a longer period of time and reduce aging. There's a lot of other genetic modifications we can make for ourselves that, we could go from being a species that lives for 100 years to a species that lives for 300 or 400 years. At that point, I mean, I don't know that I want more than 300 or 400 years. I think I could do most of what I wanted to do in 300 or 400 years. And there's going to become a time when you're sick of it, and you just,
Oh yeah.
I don't.
Well, I mean, that's
back
the main thing I
to-
want from being a vampire. I mean, sure, like, I have a little bit of a vampire fetish, the biting, the blood, whatever. But when it comes down to it, the main thing is the regeneration ability and
be awesome.
the strength, the speed. Like, I think that, maybe not in my lifetime, but I think that we will get to a point with gene therapy where we can simulate that in a way where, like you were saying, the longer telomeres, like, give us an ability, maybe using like retroviruses or something, to insert genes to make us a little bit stronger, a little faster.
We will probably end up with nanites in our
Hardier.
blood.
Kitty, is your utopia Daybreaker? Like that world?
I mean,
Where
Willem
human are just
Dafoe,
like
though.
human
Cattle.
are just cattle?
no, like, honestly, I wouldn't want a society full of vampires. I think that, like all apex predators, there needs to be a balance. I like the idea of the masquerade where you have vampires that are in the shadows. They, don't, like, I think True Blood would be a little bit more what I would want, where you have a blood substitute or willing donors, but no one, like, you're not supposed to be killing other people, and people aren't, humans aren't treated as livestock or chattel. Because I think at that point, like, there's a human rights thing, and I think if everybody's vampires, then you're kind of fucked because you've literally destroyed your food source, like Daybreakers.
Yep.
But with True Blood, there's more of a balance. Yes, there are vampires, but the humans outnumber the vampires a great deal. And just in nature, the prey species outnumber the predator species.
It has to be that way.
So, Kitty,
Kitty?
Twilight Universe.
Kitty, that thing you mentioned before about the about blood and the biting, give me a call later, okay?
Kitty, what do you think of a Twilight Universe?
I don't like vampires that sparkle.
I need
Yeah, I
tough
don't like that
vampire.
either.
I like vampires on motorcycles. Lost
I mean,
Boys.
like Anne Rice universe, like that
Lost
seemed
Boys
like
was great.
True Blood
No,
or
Yeah,
Anne
Lost
Rice.
Boys,
I think. No, because I think True Blood or Anne Rice, it would be something
Anne
like
Rice.
that where You have the masquerade. In Anne Rice, it's if you have the masquerade where people don't really generally know vampires exist, but they do exist, and they have their own society that is kind of in the shadows of human society. Or you have True Blood, where vampires, now that there's a blood substitute, they've come out, and so the masquerade is gone. They no longer are hiding in the shadows, but they still have their own society and rules, but they don't outnumber the people. Like, again, that's the biggest thing. I think humans need to outnumber vampires. But I do think vampires would be a good
Also,
way.
unions.
So who'd want to be
I mean,
Buffy?
I have a question for you, Kitty. Have
I
you
would.
seen What
I'd
We
be
Do in the
Buffy.
Shadows?
Have
you
I seen what?
What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
Oh, you have to watch
Oh,
it.
that was great.
DM me so I don't forget.
Yeah, I'm gonna
That was a
search for it,
great
and
movie.
then I'm
Simple.
gonna give you a link to where to watch it.
Alright. Shall we
Awesome.
get everybody to chill?
Do you have Hulu? Because you can
I do.
watch. Okay, yeah, it's on Hulu.
I think we should.
It's called What We Do in the Shadows. It's by oh wait, no, is this a TV show? No, this is the TV show. Never mind. Where's the movie?
So, who would Harmonica Man? You have anything to show?
Oh, you can watch it on
yes,
YouTube
Live
for
with the
like
Harmonica
$3
Man.
right now.
Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Live with the Harmonica Man at 5 Eastern Standard, or whatever. Holy shit, that vodka is good. Anyway, Saturday, Live with the Harmonica Man. I'm still doing my other channel, Shedding Mysticism, talking about all this kind of stuff. That's where I got the normal and good, is it or not kind of thing. That was this week's topic. But that is on Thursdays so far. I got to find a better time slot. So maybe I'll be talking to Dave, who's got what. So maybe, some of you can join me on there and have some intellectual discussions on some of these topics that I'm bringing up. But other than that, yeah, that's all I got. Just those two things and the normal bullshit.
Yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Jeff?
Right, yeah, what have I got coming up? Sunday, Asterix, that's on Noodles channel this week, I believe. Then I'll be on, almost certainly be on Ring's show just after that. Next Thursday, I've got another one of those Twitter streams. It was the one I was supposed to do
Last night?
Yesterday, but I postponed it because I just didn't have enough people. But I didn't really have a panel like the couple I had sort of dropped
That
out,
was our
so,
scare for today, that we wouldn't end up with a panel.
yeah. So anyone does want to join me, it's be 3:30 p.m. UK time. So that's 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Yes, we're the subject of whose Twitter we will be going through is one David Silverman.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, that could be an interesting.
Is that going to be tomorrow?
Next Thursday?
Next Thursday.
Yeah, it'd be 10:30 a.m. your time.
I'll try because fuck that guy.
Yeah, I've
please don't fuck that guy. It's what he wants.
Yeah. No comment. Yeah.
Fuck that guy with fucking barbed wire wrapped demon dick. If anybody's seen hentai with demons
Fuck
in
that
it, you
guy
know what
with
I'm talking about.
Leroy.
The tree trunk fucker.
I have.
Fuck that guy with Leroy.
There's a lot of us out there that want to get fucked, okay? Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think I've gone after enough sort of like nut job Christians. It's about time to go after a dickhead of an atheist, really, on that sense.
There's a few of them.
Yeah. Well,
I always say I couldn't get laid if I was an egg, even though I'm shaped like one.
He's. I'll just say, especially recently, I was always planning on doing Silverman as one of them, but I think recently he's just put himself a little bit nearer the top of the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying.
He's
Here's
fine.
someone gleefully saying, "I'm gonna sexual harass her right now." Penis.
Oh,
Penis.
Christ, that
Yeah,
clip's
he's an idiot.
cringy.
It is so cringe.
So
You
Alright.
really have to think those people have never had a broken nose, have they?
So I think that all the time, actually. So Genesis, what do you have? What do you have to show?
What do I have to show? Hi, I'm Genesis Undead. You can find me on the Genesis Undead channel like whenever. Also, I sulk in other people's streams. I was gonna do a stream tonight with Irish Swede and Beelzebub, but Irish Swede hasn't responded, so I probably won't do that stream tonight, but I might do it later. Also, if you're a content creator and we know each other, hit me up and I'll add you to my new special Twitter DMs group, Answers in Genesis. Ooh, so exclusive.
Send me a link to that. Like,
Also-
I'll join.
Yeah, I'll add you to it.
Yeah, add me too.
yeah, add me as well.
That'll be fun.
I'll add a bunch of people. I'm sorry. I just made it like 5 seconds ago.
No excuse.
There you go.
There's 2 people in it, and it's Beelzebub and Irish Sweet.
Me too.
Also, I'm on a show called Nat One Heroes where I play a perfectly normal cleric, just a stand-up guy in a right fair dinkum mine. I'm from Bergensville in the Underdark. Right, so yeah, we talk like this in Bergensville, mate. Fuck him up, mate. Fucking smashing.
So Jen,
Yes.
is on the scale of racism? Is that like blackface?
That's pretty much average
or
for
is
what
that
most
like-
Americans think Australian accent is like.
I want to
No, I'm
know
purposely
why,
doing a fake one. I'm purposely
I-
doing a fake one.
Genesis, I want to know why you went from doing an Australian accent to suddenly doing Dalek in the middle of that sentence.
Didn't do Dalek.
Must have hit the ring modulator from earlier.
When did I do Dalek? What? I don't have the voice mod even open. I have my task manager up, and it's not. What? Hold on.
I need to get a voice mod now because I want to
Jen?
do the Roger Troutman voice.
If you ever come visit me, I want you to bring me some Bundy rum. I want to try one of the Bundy rum and cokes. And some Vegemite.
Cool. I can send you Vegemite.
I've
Yo,
got-
I
yo,
want to try
Jen
it.
visits
Like, I won't be
you.
able to eat a lot of it.
Oh.
If Jen visits you, can I visit you so I can visit Jen?
Yeah.
I don't care.
You
It's
need
up to
to
her.
Yeah.
I
will need
may
to
get
do
to visit
Vegemite
you.
ver- You will need to do the Vegemite versus Marmite challenge.
I will.
I'm not going to
Like,
put
I won't.
Will through it.
I'll
Will's
be able to
have
taste
Vegemite.
it, but I won't be
I had
able
his
to like
growth.
eat it because like I have a feeling that like whatever it is that's in hops that does not agree with me is probably going to be in the Vegemite, so I
Probably.
won't really be able to eat a lot of it. But I will try it, and it's on my bucket list to try it.
Okay.
So
You can probably arrange
That's it.
that.
It's one of those things you have to put it on toast and eat a bunch because once you take one bite, your body's gonna be like, nope.
It's lovely. Vegemite is lovely. Now I want some. I wish you hadn't said that.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I can
have
have
it.
some for lunch before I go and do my
To be
job.
So-
honest, Jen,
So
to be honest,
Jenny,
Jen, I've actually got to say I've tried Vegemite now. I still prefer Marmite, but I kind of like Vegemite.
Vegemite's nice.
Okay,
I'm not a huge
so,
fan of Marmite, but I will eat it. It's
Never
okay.
had either.
Wait,
So-
who did I add?
you just added me because my
You got
computer
me.
just
I
told
didn't
me.
add Jen's little corner. Where the fuck are you? In
So
my... Okay,
Jenny
there you are.
Morgan, the
Oh, I forgot
lovely
Jenny Morgan.
Jenny Morgan. Do you have
Oh,
anything?
Fuck you.
Do you have anything to show?
Let's see. Movie night
There you go.
tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern, and well, I got a new porno magazine coming out on Sunday.
Ooh, what's it called? What page?
It's only $20 a month. That's all.
Cool.
Kitty.
Okay, So I don't have anything coming up myself, but as long as Jen's having this next week, I'll be there. Wiggly boobs and
We haven't
foot
decided
behind
what's
the head and
happening
all.
next week. At some point, we are going to take a break for a few weeks. Just because I'll be shifting, and Will's got some stuff he has to get done. So we haven't decided whether tonight was going to be our last or whether next week will be. But I think we'll probably do something next week, but it'll be very laid back.
Well, I also want to talk about gatekeeping in the
And he wants
community,
to
but that's
talk
not
about
laid back.
Yeah, that's not laid back.
That's a heavy top.
We may go with
Will
starting
wants to
earlier next week and go for a slightly longer show or something. So have a bit of fun with it.
Will's out here. Will's out here. Like, who can I fight? Who can I fight?
So
You know what,
I have to get up at like 2 a.m. as opposed to 3 a.m. to do this.
At some point in the
So-
next week or two, I want us to do our stream, Kitty. So
Aren't you a member of the WRW Genesis, the World Robot Wrestling Association?
World Robot Wrestling Association. I don't know. I mean, so long as they're not exploiting the robot athletes, that's fine.
All right. So
But I also, sorry,
Oh, all right. Go ahead.
I also want to shill for Godless Granny. She's gonna have on, I believe it's Matt Dillahunty on Tuesday,
Yes,
along with Scientist Mel and Brainbug, and there's someone else that I can't remember. But that's gonna be on Tuesday.
Yeah, she's got quite the lineup.
Oh,
And-
and Katie Montague. Katie Montague.
So it's her Why Are We Here with YouTubers talking about like content creation and everything like that. So definitely go and check that out. I'll be, modding in the side chat and all that. So shill for that, and then I will show up on people's channels randomly when I get invited and when I am home to be able to do so.
Yeah.
Other than that, wear a mask, don't be a dick, be safe and be well, kind of thing.
Awesome. So, you know what? Next week we will be doing a what the fuck stream, and everybody right now, everybody in the chat, everybody here should go to the Godless Sewing channel and subscribe on YouTube.
Yes,
And
do that.
Thank you very much.
Do that, and I'll put my foot behind my head again.
There's two
Just
reasons.
do it.
Will does lots of re-uploads of stuff that's happened on this show. Plus, we are starting a new What the Fuck show Will can tell you about now.
Yeah, we're gonna do what the fuck, the music edition.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna be talking. So each week we're gonna talk about different genres. It's gonna start off with metal, but to tell you the honest truth, like, I'm into 90s rap, 80s rap.
Yes.
I'm into classical. I'm into old country. I'm talking about Conway Twitty, the dog died, the Ford's dead.
Will and I are very eclectic in the type of music we like. So, yeah, we'll be covering jazz, bit of hillbilly, all sorts
Tons
of
of
stuff. So
Oh,
we're going
yeah.
to have a lot of fun doing it. And we're going to bring
you
in
gonna
different
do-
guests. It won't be like this where it's more open slather
Are you
for
gonna
guests.
do
We'll have
dubstep?
people in who actually have an interest in those topics. So,
If
Are
you
you
want to
gonna do
come on,
dubstep?
if you want to come on and talk about dubstep, I'll talk about dubstep.
yeah.
I will
Are you
play.
gonna
I
do
will
Mr.
let you use royalty-free my dubstep that I
Are
made.
you gonna do Mr. Rogers' Greatest Hits?
No.
Oh, now that'd be a
come
cool
on,
show.
you could come on the Godless Sewing channel and we'll talk about it. I'm down.
So that's
No-
a show
no-
that's coming. That
no
will
holds
be
barred.
starting up in a few weeks' time when we come back with this show. We're also going to come back with that, and we've got some plans for that. So that'll be fun. So you need to be subbed to Will's channel to see that because it's
I just had a
premiering
great
over there.
idea. I just had a great idea for a show.
Yeah.
Every week, Jenny and I are gonna have a topic and we're gonna fight over it. and she can tell me how I'm wrong.
Oh, how about, call it something like You Said What Now?
Yeah,
What now?
I was. Never
Yeah.
mind. I won't think about the other title I was gonna say.
Mm.
It's
You know,
insulting
Share
to
the
me.
music stuff
It's
for
insulting
sure.
to me.
But we should create a stream called "Shut the Fuck Up, I'm Talking."
That'd be
kind
funny.
of fits.
I'd watch that.
I refuse to participate.
Yeah, you could have like
That will not be on the Godless Sewing
people
channel.
talking about Oh well, that happens every time, anyways.
It does.
Well,
doesn't
when
it?
you have a lot of people and there's a delay, it's kind of hard sometimes where people start talking at the same time or there's a delay. So you start talking and someone starts talking, but nobody can hear,
Yeah, it happens. It's one of those
Yeah,
things.
I'm lagging out quite a bit, actually. I'm sorry if I do talk over people. I really don't mean it.
We know.
And
We
thank
all
you.
understand how this works because we've all been a part of it for a long time.
Yeah,
And thank you,
same
Junie,
here.
for the
Yeah,
showing.
and mine's I think the most.
Yes, thank you, Junie. You're lovely. We love
Junie,
you.
you are lovely. I adore you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think everyone's chilled. Yeah? Have we all chilled? Okay. So I want to say thank you to everybody here because you're all amazing and I love having you all around. I really look forward to this show and us all getting the chance to talk about stuff. I know we rarely stick properly to the topic, although we didn't do a bad job this week.
Oh, you did a great job.
We did. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to next week's. Certainly looking forward to our show, Kitty, when we got it together, because that's going to be fun. And for the new music show, that's going to be awesome. Fun. Well, it's going to be it's going to be educational.
Hey,
Yeah.
This show tonight was supposed to be about the future and stuff.
Yeah.
What about the flying cars?
Yeah, they're not happening. I wouldn't trust somebody. I wouldn't trust a human in a flying
They're
car.
no longer a band. They
thing.
broke up. a long
Like,
time
even if
ago.
they did happen, the fact is there's so many no-fly zones over cities that, like, it'd be fucking pointless unless you lived in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, your advantage to it might be you might be able to drive out of the city and then fly to another city to save time to get there. But
Or it would be like iRobot and Genesis would get everything she wanted.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I'm
not saying-
I'm
I'm
looking
not-
forward to self-driving cars.
You asked me about utopia. Did I say I wanted a utopia? I don't think I did. I'm just saying the most efficient and perfectly ran universe would be one where we are all sentient robots.
And
So
on
did you
that
choose
note,
the green option at the end of Mass Effect?
Yes.
Same. I actually choose the
Also,
green.
also always befriend Legion.
and on that note,
oh yeah. On
Oh,
that
I
note,
have-
we're gonna call
I
it
have
for
one more.
tonight.
I have one more thing to say.
Go for it.
Jenny Morgan, Wonder Woman. Now I have that song stuck in my head. All night long, I'm gonna be singing Wonder
You're a
Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Look it up. The 1/70s version was amazing.
I got called evil because I got a song stuck in someone's head earlier.
All right. Thank you all for coming and joining us. Thank you to everybody in the chat, especially thank you to Junie for doing all the shelling. And we will catch you all on the next one. Bye.
Good night, everyone.